Hello, you guys. Welcome back to the channel. This is Aranda here, my best life Paraguay. And today we're going to be looking at the poll that I did about a month ago here and what you guys had to say. And the poll is, what are you most fed up with in your country of origin? Right? And there's 4 options. There's cost of living. So number 1, the option was cost of living, inflation, and house prices. Number 2 was dating and marriage and divorce, the laws, boss babes, 666 standards. Number 3 was wokeism. Example, I identify as a frog. Cancel culture, pronouns, whatever, unlimited amount of pronouns. And then number 4, senseless violence, gangland havens, mass shootings, and hate groups. Right? So, didn't really surprise me with these results, you guys, to be completely honest. I knew that cost of living, inflation, and house prices is number 1, right? Is economics. That's why people move abroad. And yeah, people are fed up. And actually after this, I talk a little bit about this poll that I did. We're going to just check out a video on CNBC did why a 100,000 salary cannot buy the American dream, which is ridiculous, right? So anyways, yeah, so going back to this poll, number 4, or the least chosen one, at 2%, was senseless violence, gangland havens, mass shootings, and hate groups, right? I think literally one person might have chosen that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I can see why that's certainly number 1. People are maybe do worry about that, but it's not number 1 on the list, right? For sure. I can understand that. We don't have to go into that too much. This, I could only have 4 options. If I could have put like 6 or 7, I would have. But these are the top 4 that I maybe thought were decent breakdown brackets of things that maybe some people are fed up with, right? And yeah, and honestly, like people, they'll have different subtopics within these main options or topics or whatever you want to call these options for this poll, right? So actually number 2 surprised me a little bit. I thought this was going to be the number 2 most chosen, but not far behind wokeism, but was dating and marriage and divorce. I thought that would be a little bit higher, right? Because I talked to a lot of guys, but economics is number 1, right? And we know as guys too, if we're in better economic positions, we feel better about dating. Literally, just the process of dating. It's much more expensive in our home countries, etc. Without getting into the Western versus Latin American, or versus traditional versus non-traditional or modern or whatever, without getting into all that, like keeping it more economic within dating. Yeah, it's you're actually able to afford to date now when you move to lower cost of living countries, right? So yeah, and then the marriage part of it also, a lot of guys in their older years, they'll hit me up who are divorced, right? And many times it plays out really bad. And honestly, if it's not the laws, it's just the process. It's the mindset. It's their entire life investment. A lot of guys have given to their wives, seeing their kids well, etc. And it really just on an emotional level, like it really takes a toll on a lot of guys when they have to go through divorces, etc. Most of the times, even statistically, it's usually not the guy's decision to make to initiate divorce. I believe, what is it, like 75% of the time it's the woman, right? So yeah, that takes, if it's not taking a financial toll on you, which that certainly happens, well, I won't get into all that. But if it doesn't take a financial toll on you, it takes a real emotional toll on you, right? And yeah, I've talked to a lot of those guys who have been through at least, and even if they weren't married, just really hard breakups, right? You guys know my story by now, right? But yeah, even guys who are in longer relationships for sure. And divorce, what I was just talking about. Yeah, I mean, that's self-explanatory. I just kind of went into that, but yeah, and then, guys who start to analyze the dating market, right, in the US or their Western countries, they're like, yeah, I don't think I can do this, right? Whether it's the cost, like I was saying, the literal cost, or you're just not vibing with the ladies anymore than you might have 10, 20, 30 years ago, right? So that kind of points you guys to more traditional countries. But let me say that, but you guys better come with good intentions here too, though. You know what I mean? If you come for pay for play, like, I hate that I have to fucking mention that all the time, but I do. Like, I'm not going to want to deal with you personally, right? Like, you guys can do that. Don't talk to me about it. I don't want to engage in about that and stuff. I ain't going to judge you, right? Just like, just don't bring it up with me, personally, right? Try to get girlfriends and wives, man. Yeah, it sucks. It's hard sometimes, like, especially if you're really kind of you lay it all out there in the beginning and you tell the truth and stuff. I can be a little much because sometimes a little too overly honest, right? But that's why I don't work out with a lot of girls here personally. But I still had great experiences, more beautiful women than I would have been within the West. That's for sure. Right. And I do vibe with them too. Right. And, I understand my culture now and the language too. So it's a little bit easier for me, but, I understand the urge to find a life partner overseas. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. Then number two, the second chosen, I mean, in our poll, right? Damn, I should have put it here. I'll put it bigger on the screen for you guys. Here we go. Second chosen was wokeism. See, so the thing is that this one goes way beyond these three examples that I put, right? I mean, you guys could throw 20 things under this category of wokeism, right? And so could I, right? But on the serious note, right? I put like the funny ones, right? The 4,000 pronouns, or like I identify as a fish or a frog or a kangaroo or some crazy stuff like that. And people have to take you serious in a serious manner and stuff, like, and if you don't, if you don't recognize Bobby or Billy or Shannon or Karen as a kangaroo, then you're going to get fired or some crazy stuff, depending on, where you work at. Or even if you don't get like fired, something that extreme, like you could start making friction if you're just not the most like pure form of yourself. And actually, I was actually listening to a interesting podcast about like why you don't normally see folks, men or women, really shift to the left normally in life. Usually you kind of start on the left or in the middle, and you might wander to the left a little bit, right? But most of the time, at least nowadays, and in today's current political climate, people start leaning to the middle, or to the right, because the left, for example, right, and this plays out in the numbers as well. So many times, and I'm not talking about like bare bones left, like what a lot of people would like say our taxpayer dollars goes to some form of healthcare. All right, that's like the bare bones stuff, or maybe higher education, or if it's not just higher education, maybe getting yourself into the training for the trades, stuff like that, right? That's what I call like bare bones economic populist leftist stuff. I'm talking about the hardcore wokeism, right? The gender neutral bathrooms, the pronouns, the I identify as, the this and that, and like that kind of stuff, right? The thing is, if you don't agree 100% with a lot of these folks, then they will kind of shun you. And I've experienced that, right? Because I gave my opinion on the election, of why the election went the way it did, the national election, right? So I saw it play out myself, right? And a lot of the right doesn't care for me either, right? Because I'm not full-fledged to the right either, but I'm not full-fledged to the left in 2025 either, right? And so it's interesting because a certain podcaster was saying that because a certain the far left is the party, or not the party, but the group of the purists, right? If you're not pure as me, I don't want anything to do with you. I'm going to cancel you, and I'm just going to call you an alt-right or a Proud Boy or a Nazi or something like that, right? Which is ironic for me, right? Thank God nobody actually called me I can't even say that word on YouTube, can I? Nazi. God, I have to spell that out. Jesus. Okay. But yeah, so that's kind of what pushes people away from that sort of group, because they're the purist police, right? So I understand that, right? And again, I know that this can go way deeper than just this, but I'm just saying in general, right? And this plays out in the numbers too, with the national election in the US and other countries as well, right? Because, if you're not this absolute pure former, if you take a little bit more context into consideration, or, maybe this would work in this context, but not fully in this context, or I would rather come to a general consensus, or maybe make this, look, I don't agree with you 100%, but if we could come to this sort of compromise, etc., then a lot of them will just shun you completely and be like, oh, well, you're just a bad human being or something like that. So I understand, and I understand why that's chosen as number 2, right? Because a lot of people are fed up with that in the workplace, in society, with family members, with this and that. Yeah, so I get it, right? And because there's a lot of just canceling, right? The right, that sort of exists on the right a little bit, but not too much anymore, right? It's usually, if you don't agree with the most left of the leftists, then a lot of times they will look at you as not pure enough to be in their circles, right? Anyways, and I've seen this play out in politically online too, like after Trump won, there's a big old civil war on the progressive left, oh my God, well, you're not this enough, or this enough, or this enough, or this enough. Why are you agreeing with the right wingers, or why are you even looking for compromises, or why are you even trying to understand their mindsets, or so I get it, right? I get it, right? And I'm over here trying to understand on a more macro level, the macro level shifts of why people voted the way they did, right? Besides just immediately blame game, especially us who are reaching our 30s and 40s. You have to take a little bit more context into life and look at macro trends. Not everybody thinks in your little little bubble circle, in your little freaking neighborhood. Not everybody's just the Karen police out here or whatever the fuck, Okay, I'm gonna stop there. I'm sure I already pissed off a lot of people. Okay, let's go into the most important thing though. The most important thing, no matter what ideology you're on, whatever, this or that, or maybe you do identify as a frog, but even the frogs out here have to deal with the cost of living, inflation, and house prices, right? That's where we all come together. So, and we all should be looking up, right? Looking up to the powerful, the ones who screw us over, but we all kind of are in this blame game stuff, right? Like me, I'm not. I haven't even been to the U.S. in 9 months, right? I'll touch on it when I see things going on, but yeah. So cost of living, you guys, is out of control, right? And we're gonna cover a part of a CNBC video here, but it's out of control. Inflation is out of control. House prices are out of control. I hate to make this a generational divide, but like honestly, the older generations understand, but sometimes there's a real lack of empathy for younger folks, right? Sometimes pull yourself up by the bootstraps. What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, you just do what I did. What you don't just have 15,000 to throw into crypto, or 20,000, or why don't you just just like pretty outrageous stuff. Some folks will tell us, not all older folks. A lot of them do have a lot of empathy, but there's quite a bit who don't. They'll go out there and build character, kid. What the fuck are you doing? Like, you figure it the fuck out for yourself, or like different versions of that, right? Just do it the fucking way I did, right? Just stop buying your stupid fucking Starbucks, and then everything's gonna work out for you. Or the one I like the most is like, well, why don't you just go date a girl who's willing to walk around a park with you? It's like, okay, well, here in Latin America, maybe, but even that in Latin America, you're gonna start out with like a restaurant date, right? And then the U.S., you ain't doing that old school stuff. And then I know a lot of times they'll also say the whole like, oh, we're just going to go and join a group of like-minded individuals. For sure, I understand that, but even then, there could be a lot of friction. Like, oh, well, this is strictly just we have to stay on our activity, right? This is not a dating group, right? But like back in generations ago, you could actually meet that like that, right? And you still can, right? Especially if you do something like a Latin dance or something in the States. Like, you can, but if we're going to be honest, like even like Latinas and stuff are more Americanized. They don't want to be going there and getting hit on. Maybe some are like the exception, or maybe like, I don't know, you're a guy and you, I don't know, go on like a hiking group or something. Maybe if they're single girls, but I'm telling you, this is not like it was 20, 30, 40 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, back then, that was the holistic way. And that can actually still be a real holistic way once you start moving overseas too, right? Because women are more approachable. We've talked about this as well, right? I took this back to dating, but it's true. Because this was, I guess, number 3 chosen, but it's a big part that goes into economics as well. Cost of living, inflation, and house prices. Why do a lot of people want houses? Is it for themselves? Do most men think of like, oh, you know what? I want to get that freaking McMansion up there on the fucking hills or by the lake or wherever, so I can just live by myself the rest of my life? No. Most guys are thinking like, I want that mansion to have a beautiful wife up in there, have a beautiful relationship, and have some kids one day. That's what most guys are thinking. Believe me, I know that, right? And if guys are either past that point, or if they're divorced guys, they're cool with the duplex like I got, or they're cool with a high-rise apartment. I know guys. The only reason they're going for houses is not for themselves. Now, on the other hand, this might make some people mad, but it's true. But a lot of actually women don't mind that. They'll love their big house even if they're single, right? They don't necessarily look for the same thing, but a lot of guys, when they look for a house, that's almost synonymous with family, right? Abroad or back in the States, you know what I mean? So, yes, that's where the dating and marriage and all that comes into the cost of living, inflation, house prices. That's where it all makes. All this stuff is intertwined, you guys, right? Like, yeah, I asked this poll, like, which one are you most fed up with? But a lot of people are fed up with all these things to different levels, to different degrees, right? But yeah, I mean, it's an absolute shit show. It's cost of living, inflation, and another big thing is like, especially, well, whatever. Most administrations completely lie to us, about true inflation numbers. They're like, What are you talking about? It's just 2-3%, or when it's more like 30 to 50%. And we all know this. We can go into grocery carts, especially us who did like any kind of food orders before the pandemic, and see how stuff has risen like 150%, right? Or whatever, or whatever, so something outrageous like that when it comes to food, gas, house prices, everything, right? Like we can feel it on the ground. So when they try to do these weird equations that aren't the true numbers, it's really insulting, right, to us who are just trying to live decent lives, right? So anyways, we're gonna dive into just a part of this documentary, why a $100,000 salary cannot buy the American dream. And just before we do that, I was just curious. So in the U.S., it says approximately 25% of men over $100,000 annually. I don't believe this number fully. While only 12% of women earn that much, we're not going to get into this because I'll make people mad. Because a lot of men and women do different jobs, have different hours, different that kind of thing. So I'm not trying to make this a man versus woman thing. This is just what it is in the numbers. Even if you go down here, back to 2021, says 17%. Anyways, about 1 to 4, right? But even that 1 to 4, or here, less than 1 to 5, whatever number you want to put on it, even those people who do reach that, whether it's 1 in 4 or 1 in 5, or less than that, for ladies, if they're single ladies, and that's why it's good to have families, and strong families, and families that stay together and don't just break off and shit for the most petty of fucking reasons, or like, I don't know, some minor life stuff goes down or something like that. People are just breaking the fuck off for any fucking reason, Nobody has it like past generations. They understood the benefits of staying with a good man or a good woman, right? Everybody breaking shit off for whatever godly fucking reason under the sun. So, all right, let's get into this.
More than half of Americans say they would need at least $100,000 a year to be financially comfortable.
The benchmark of a 6-figure salary used to be the gold standard income. It represented the tipping point of finally earning a disposable income and building a savings, spending based on your wants, not just your needs.
The American dream is what makes a middle-class lifestyle. You're able to pay your bills. You're able to put food on the table, put a roof over your family's head, and you have some additional savings.
Now, people making well over 6 figures are still living paycheck to paycheck. What used to symbolize financial freedom is now keeping people stressed about making ends meet.
26% say they would need more. A salary in the range of $100,000 to $149,000 per year would make them feel financially comfortable.
I think unfortunately what has happened is that wages haven't kept up with the cost of living by and large for the last 50 years or so. And so it becomes increasingly hard for many families to be able to attain that sort of middle-class lifestyle, that American dream.
How much you need to feel financially secure varies so much depending on not only your geographical location, but of course your lifestyle. It used to be that a 6-figure salary was like the gold standard, but nowadays that may not be enough to make ends meet in certain parts of the country, especially like New York or San Francisco, where it costs so much more just to cover your daily expenses.
Here's why a $100,000 household income no longer buys the American dream.
Dang, didn't that just answer it though? Yeah, earnings aren't keeping up with everything else. This was, 11 months ago. Okay, well, whatever. Let's keep going. If anything, it hasn't gotten better. It's only gotten worse. So, all right.
Go Banking Rates analyzed how much a family of 2 adults and 2 children would need in each state to own a home, a car, and a pet, as well as have an additional 20% of their income for savings and 30% for discretionary spending.
The core of what the American dream means is some amount of economic security, that you feel like you can get by and do a bit better. Maybe do better than your parents, maybe be able to afford a house, certainly be able to save for your children's future.
All 50 states require more than a $100,000 annual income, with 38 states needing more than $140,000. The most affordable states, Mississippi.
Okay, so my state of Wisconsin, it says, my state of Wisconsin says between 160,000 to 200,000 to achieve the American dream. Cool, bro. Cool. Nice. Amazing. Yo, guys. A lot of you guys like point to Wisconsin and think it's cheap, man. It ain't cheap. Wisconsin is expensive, bruh. Like, damn, you know, especially in the capital city I'm from. Nah, bro. Wisconsin is nothing cheap. And the fact it's becoming a tech hub. You guys probably don't know that, but it is. A lot of the tech boys and girls are coming there to work, and they're skyrocketing. House prices up. They're buying the nicest ones, the most remodeled ones. They're buying the nicest, fanciest fucking high rises in the city, the nicest, newest, everything, right? And they're the ones who are truly making, and that's not their fault. It's just what it is. But they're the ones who make prices skyrocket, right? Okay, interesting map though. Interesting map. So pretty much here, actually, let's go back a little bit. Let's look at this map. Okay, so to make it between 109 and 140,000, we got to go to Mississippi, South Carolina, Alabama, Arkansas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Missouri, Iowa, South Dakota. What is that? Nebraska? I don't know. Yeah, Kentucky, West Virginia, or Ohio, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, there you go. Those are the 10 states, or whatever, however many that was, states that you can go in and barely get by with barely over 100,000. And then again, 1 in 5 or 1 in 4 make over 100,000 as an individual. So there you go. Yeah. All right, let's keep going.
Mississippi, Arkansas, and Kentucky need between $109,000 and $117,000. The median income for a household of 4 people in each of those states in 2022 was between $71,000 and $87,000.
Okay, so about 2/3 or at least in these states, about 2/3 you're reaching the required income for the American dream, or no, the median income. Okay, to get to the required income. So Mississippi, good old Mississippi, shit. Even Mississippi, you need 110,000, bruh. Come on, bruh, to live the American dream with 2 kids and a dog and a house. Oh boy, you guys. Oh boy. Okay, let's go.
Hawaii, California, and Massachusetts are the most expensive. Each requires an annual income of more than $240,000.
Okay, let me just say something real quick, because like a lot of people think that like, oh, we're just moving everywhere for God fucking no reason, right? Usually when people move, it's a really big thing, and usually when people move, it's not usually with families. It's usually before that, career-wise, etc. So a lot of these people who like are in Hawaii are just from Hawaii, right? There's not like, well, actually that might be actually kind of an exception with like foreigners all over the world. But like California, most people who live in California who have to deal with this required income of the American dream are just from California, right? There's not just like mass exoduses every single year. People are just like free flowing everywhere. Like usually like it has to do with a job or an opportunity or a family member coming to invite you and said, hey, try it here, kid. And then maybe you'll do better here, kid. Something like that. But most people are just locals, right? So even in Massachusetts, like you think everybody's just rich in Boston? Nah, man, there's a lot of poverty up in Boston and many places in California. Shit, even Hawaii has hoods. I've seen documentaries, right? Not everybody in Hawaii is just balling out on the beach every day. And going back to their beach high rise, there's a lot of hoods there too, like gang neighborhoods and stuff. So like, yeah, man. And then you wonder why so many people turn to crime too, right? To try to up their income. Like, it's not a good idea, but I mean, try to understand, like, hopefully not fucking violent crime, but a lot of people do things off the books, to make money. But this is just outrageous, dude. Look at these numbers. 242,000 in Massachusetts. To what? To achieve the American dream, right? 245 in California to achieve the American dream. The average home price in California was $700,000 to $800,000. Outrageous. Hawaii, 260. Outrageous. Oh, I wonder what their average home price out there. Hawaii has limited land too, livable land. So I'm guessing 800,000, maybe up to a milli. I don't know. But come on, you guys, this is the haves and have-nots nation anymore.
The median income for a family of 4 in those 3 states in 2022 fell at least $94,000 short of what's required for the American dream. A different analysis from EPI found that in about 80% of the country, a family of 4 can afford their basic needs on less than $100,000 per year. Those include things such as housing, food, transportation, healthcare, childcare, taxes, and a few other basic necessities.
Doesn't take into account anything extra. It's really just putting food on the table, putting a roof over your head, getting healthcare for your family. So you're not saving for a rainy day if something happens to somebody or if they lose their job. So there's no extra in there for retirement, for kids' college. Those are the kinds of things that many people want to save for. Those are the many things that people consider a part of the American dream.
Yep. And now that's why you have to go overseas to retire. You better get on it now, ladies and gentlemen. Real talk. It's only going to get harder. I be telling that people. Even if you don't permanently move now, at least get that permanent residency card in your pocket. Get that maybe citizenship in some places. I don't know, but you better be on it now, you guys. You better be on it the next 2 to 3 years maximum. Hopefully 1 to 2 years, because there's almost no way that you're going to retire comfortably in the USA. If this is what it takes to live a good life before retirement, think of what after retirement is going to cost you. Okay, it's not possible for most people in younger generations. It's just not. Okay. So yeah.
Only about 3% of those counties have a median income higher than the basic cost of living.
Wow.
The idea behind the American dream hasn't really changed, even though lifestyles have.
Okay, we're actually going to skip this part, the rise in consumer debt. Yeah, whatever. Debt is debt is debt. We all know. Let's go to the ending.
Collectively, Americans owe $1.13 trillion on their credit cards.
Inflation, it's eroding people's purchasing power. It's reducing their ability to save for their future or invest in these long-term goals. So that loss of financial stability can create a sense of powerlessness and insecurity. It contribute to feelings of uncertainty and vulnerability. It can really impact people's self-esteem, their resilience, their overall psychological health.
Economists have suggested that debt growth became a substitution for income growth. More than a quarter of Americans said that they are doom spending or spending money despite economic concerns.
There's also this idea that young adults are feeling more discouraged in their own financial standing. So in that way, they're less inclined to even save for long-term goals and more likely to just live in the moment. It's just sort of that mentality, like you only live once, I may not buy a home anyway, so let's take that trip or let's go to that event, whether it's a Taylor Swift concert or other, big.
Please don't go to Taylor Swift concerts, for the love of Christ. Okay. Here's one thing. It's one thing to move abroad, start a YouTube channel. That's an investment. It's another thing to go to Lollapalooza or fucking Coachella or a Taylor Swift concert, which has nobody gives a shit. Right? But if you move abroad somewhere and you talk profoundly about your experiences or stuff that can help other people, that's more an investment. But I know what she's saying too, though. If you do the Las Vegases, the Miamis, the Cancuns, the New York Cities, the even effing around going to Chi-Town for too long, Los Angeles, just outrageous cities, right? For no reason, just because my friends are going. You guys, oh my God, you guys, I gotta go to all my friends' bachelor parties. I gotta go to all my friends. What the fuck are they called? For girls, bachelorette parties, or whatever the fuck. And believe me, dude, I've been invited to a lot of those over the last decade. A lot of guys, they would like me there, but dude, I just spent every fucking dollar I had coming to Paraguay for family, for culture, to get better at the language, to set roots here, to get connections and respect and all that, and then one day, live here. And I've been living here for over 9 months now. So, I mean, yeah. So, it's one thing to travel and to move overseas for a while and like do a YouTube channel or a blog or a vlog or whatever, or something that could be like an investment in that, right? But also like setting up roots too, like checking out land, places to live, other opportunities, making connections on the ground, meeting people, learning a new language, stuff that building skills, giving yourself some time online to build skills. Like for example, like I've gotten way better at video editing and graphic design and all that stuff. That's what they're not bringing up here in this video, which honestly makes me pretty disgusted, right? They pretend like moving abroad is not an option, right? Let's see if they say moving abroad is an option here. They probably won't, because they never fucking do. But let's just see.
Ticket item.
73% of Gen Zers say the current economy makes it difficult to set up long-term goals.
And it's not just about revenge spending. It's just about wanting to enjoy life and make the most of what you have, even if you can't necessarily buy that home, or, you're not starting a family just yet and you really want to, feel good about yourself in the moment.
People are indulging to the extreme. I think we often buy because we think that it's going to change our life, or it's going to give us this emotion that we feel like we're missing. And it's like an endless trail of spending. It's constantly going to make us feel empty because we're externalizing something that we need to give to ourselves. I think that's a big issue with consumerism, and it's running rampant.
Social media has changed the conversation.
Let me tell you guys something. I've been here for 9 months. I have not bought one article of clothing, one thing of jewelry. Everything that you see on me, I've had since I came from the States. The only thing that I bought, truly, like biggest purchase, I'll show you right now. This is about, what did this come to me? 26, a little, maybe under $30. And I drink my yerba out of it, right? My tea. That was the biggest purchase I've made, besides living stuff. I mean, I'm talking about like not non-essential stuff, right? I'm talking about like all the rest of this stuff, like is this stuff for living, right? But I'm talking about, do I just go to the mall and just buy clothes because I just want to? No. Even the one vacation that I took within the country was an investment into content. And I did lives over there. I did a lot of filming in Encarnacion. It was sort of a week vacation because I did kind of need it, right? But then again, what was it? It was a very cost-effective vacation as well, right? It wasn't destroying the books it certainly wasn't going to a Rio, right? Go watch my Encarnacion vacation videos if you want to see how much it cost. It was 10 times less than even a weekend vacation in the States somewhere, right? So yeah, okay, let's see what their conclusions are.
So much because there's just been this abundance of the ability to see these glamorous, glorified lifestyles. It's not only celebrities that are presenting themselves this way, but even your own peers, which makes a lot of people feel like they're just not measuring up. They can't financially compete with what they're seeing online. It has left a lot of people, especially young adults, feeling very discouraged in their own financial standing. Even if they're doing okay, they just may not feel that way when they compare themselves to what they're seeing on social media.
The question is, are you able, given kind of the luck of the birth lottery, are you able to have opportunities under the same as those of people who may have been born into families that are in better circumstances than your own? It's all about, it shouldn't matter. The birth lottery shouldn't matter, right? So it's deeply relative.
Wow. Okay, look at this last chapter. What is called Changing American Dream. What? Not one of them brought up move to a lower cost of living country. They're just like, it's birth lottery, which, okay, for sure, a little bit, a tiny bit. And okay, actually, no, it is quite a bit, right? For the achieving the American dream within side of American borders, right? Because we went over the numbers at the beginning, right? And and even getting things like to the higher education. A lot of those people who go to like the Ivy League schools are like usually people from very well-off families who have connections to those schools. So, okay, I understand that, right? Don't get too mad at me, you guys. But they did not bring up moving abroad. They did not say get a residency abroad. Why did they not say that, you guys? Because they don't want you to know that. They don't want you to critically think. They don't want you to leverage what you do have, right? To set up a better life for yourself, right? And that's why these takes, man. I mean, wow. Well, what a non-solution, right? They didn't offer us anything. They just said it's impossible. Okay, well, I guess you guys have to come to my channel and see how it is possible, right? And again, even if you don't live here right off the bat, get your residency card set up so you're going to be good for retirement. Get that $40,000 house I show on my channel, right, in a gated community. Get that locked in the next 5-10 years. And hopefully you're not paying a mortgage in the U.S. all the way through your 60s type stuff, all the way up till 65 years old or beyond. I mean, please, guys, please. And that's it. You guys know what it is. We started this out with the poll, but then I wanted to, fall back on economics again, because that's what it is. That's what most people are about. Yeah. Okay, I'm out of here, you guys. I'm riding Aranda, my best life Paraguay. Another long video. I'm sure this went very long, but you know what it is. I like to go off on rants, and some of you guys listen to me, some of you guys don't, but cool. And we see each other the next time. All right, you guys, take care.